Hello and welcome back to NoBS. Today we turn to talking about those terrible riots and demonstrations gone wrong spreading across the United States of America. Specifically, we're talking about St. Louis, another Midwest city not too far from Minneapolis, and they've had their own series of events going along with this whole craziness. In St. Louis, though, they made a terrible decision and something that is quite alarming. They actually decided to release all the people they arrested for various crimes during this whole chaotic event. Now, this, of course, is bad and kind of interesting for a lot of reasons. You see, St. Louis has its own kind of history with this stuff that we're going to go over briefly and get to this story and give you this kind of context because as many might know, if you remember the Ferguson event and the Ferguson riots, those were right near St. Louis in that area. And in addition, St. Louis has historically been known to have a lot of crime, and a very large black community is there as well. East St. Louis is one of the most dangerous parts of our country. Many people know that. And I personally have some experience because I was born and raised there. I grew up in the St. Louis area for many years in the early parts of my life. So I know a lot that's going on here personally. My family has told me stories, and we've seen the kinds of problems in this area. It's very, very corrupt with the government. It's all Democrat-led, like how all these other rioting cities are. Democrat leaders there, and they just don't handle the problems properly. They've turned the city into chaos. They've had it filled with crime for years. They're not fixing anything. They just don't want to, arrest the criminals. They defend the black people, even if they do bad things, and then they build up these ghettos. Drugs are getting spread around, crimes, stealing, stuff like that. St. Louis is bad news. It's not all bad. I mean, this is still a great city. It's still a great American city with a lot of history. St. Louis is, of course, the gateway to the West. It lies right along the Mississippi River, so it's got a big port on there. And the Gateway to the West title is kind of its motto because this is where Lewis and Clark started their expedition to explore the western half of our country many, many years ago. And that's why there's the big arch there in St. Louis and lots of other pretty things too. Forest Park, the Science Center, it's a nice place. Don't get me wrong, because we're going to go doom and gloom today, and we're going to talk about a lot of the negatives, but there's still a lot of good people there, some of my family included, and that's the greater point. We're not trying to be too negative, but there are a lot of problems there, and I think anyone that's been to the city or lived there like we have, they will know and admit this, that crime is an issue. The Democratic politicians have become too corrupt, and they're unstoppable. They can't get them out of elections. They just keep winning the mayor, the governor's seats, the representatives. It's all taken over, and it's just getting worse and worse. And it's what's resulted in this story today. As you can see by this tweet, it says, all rioters, arsonists, looters in St. Louis freed from jail without charges either. That's pretty messed up. Basically just reinforcing the things they did, not giving them a punishment is not going to discourage this from happening again. It's saying, hey, we're going along with this. We're going along with the whole message, the whole, these are peaceful protesters. They have proper justification. They have a reason to be rioting, looting, and stealing. And that's the kind of support that encourages this. This is going to make it happen again. And I mean, like we said, the Ferguson thing wasn't that long ago. That was about 5 years ago. And now it's happening here, and they're just letting them get off. And that's why people are kind of turning their heads and saying, hey, watch out. I mean, this is not the place you want to be right now. And then there's some comments kind of commenting on that. I thought they said it was a crime just to be black. Yeah, so they're saying that's just kind of a joke because, they're saying everyone gets arrested there. If the cops are really so racist and against black people, why would they let them out of jail? Why would they arrest them and not just, take them out on the streets? Why even carry them in? It doesn't match their narrative. It's very interesting to see that, the cops are letting them go. I thought they were really racist. And then I thought that, you couldn't trust the cops. Why are the cops? I thought they just killed minorities willy-nilly, but that's clearly not what's happening. And there's a lot to say about that and a lot to kind of reflect on with this story. So with that said, let's go ahead and read into the article and see what they have to say. All rioters, arsonists, and looters have been released from jail in St. Louis, Missouri, without facing charges thus far by city prosecutors. Throughout riots in St. Louis this week, only 36 individuals were arrested for rioting, looting, and committing arson. The St. Louis Post-Dispatch confirmed that all of those arrested, though, have been released from jail without charges against them. In a stunning development, our office has learned that every single one of the St. Louis looters and rioters arrested were released back into the streets by local prosecutor Kim Gardner, Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt said in a statement posted online. So, yeah, this is already messed up. I mean, the premise is there. They're letting the criminals out. They only arrested 36 to begin with, which seems like a small number for such a big city, millions of people in this area. And I'm sure the demonstrations were larger than 36 if it's anything like the other ones we've seen. And to just put them back on the streets is just asking for trouble. It's saying, hey, get back out there. You're okay. We're not going to charge you. Like, do it again. They're going to do it again. This chaos is never going to end. And I think it just shows weakness. It shows the kinds of biasness in the cops there. Like we were saying, how they're corrupt. They're controlled by the Democrats, the sheriff, the mayor, all this stuff. So they're really kind of giving them the go-ahead. They're like, okay, we're on your side. These riots are condoned and allowable. And we're, BLM. They're going to say Black Lives Matter. And Eric Schmidt seems to have more details, he said. And then there seems to be a video here. Let's see what the video looks like. Smoke and fire, and it's just a general example of what was going on in that area and showing that it was bad. It was time to take care of something. These people could have used help, but instead they got released, and now we're going to have more problems. I mean, this is just not fixing the issue. It's like, what if these protesters were the lockdown protesters? Remember, there was lockdown protests just a few weeks ago, and the whole narrative was totally against them and saying, oh, we can't have protests right now. You're going to spread the virus. You're going out there. You're demonstrating. You can't have your weapons. Like, you can't be in the front of the courthouse or something. But those protests were totally peaceful. That's the contradiction here. Like, those protests were all peaceful. No one got hurt. Nothing was broken. Minimal effect on the area at all. All it was some people peacefully saying, hey, we want to go back to work. The media vilified them, said they were going to spread the disease, said they were going to end the world or make things worse. They said they were going to get violent and intimidating. But then now, how things have changed so far, how now everyone's behind the BLM protest, and the whole George Floyd thing is getting unanimous support from all the media, from the cops and everything. Like, they're all kneeling down and going along with it. No one's mentioning social distancing. No one cares about the virus anymore. That's not even an issue, not even brought up by anyone but us. Like, no one cares about that. These people are encouraged to go out night after night, breaking things too. This isn't peaceful anymore. This is people burning things down, destroying property, stealing stuff. I don't know what taking a microwave from a Target has to do with this whole protest, but apparently that's part of their process. Apparently they think stealing from the dollar store is going to help their cause somehow and give them more credibility in the press, but I just don't see it, and it's just a big hypocrisy that everyone is noticing now, and it's kind of turning against the leftists and these people that are protesting, and the Antifa and the pro-BLM people. Like, they've gone too far. They might have been okay at day 1 or day 2, a little bit of fuss, but going on for weeks and weeks, destroying stuff, just going too far. Like, they're losing the sympathy. They're losing any kind of goodwill they might have had. Like, even people on their side are starting to turn against them. They're even trying to blame it on other people too. Like, there's been calls of like, oh, this is white supremacists and it's like white people's fault. It's like, dude, I'm sitting at home watching you guys burn down your cities. Like, I'm not anything to do with that. This isn't our thing. This is you guys going too far, regretting it, and then trying to blame it on us. A spokesperson for the prosecutor's office said 8 of the 36 were released from jail after no charges were immediately filed, and 2 were released from jail after being issued a summons to appear at a later court date. The remaining 26 individuals were released from jail without charges thus far. Cities facing riots have seen similar instances of immediate jailbreak for rioters, looters, and arsonists. In New York City, more than 400 individuals arrested at riots are being quickly released from jail without paying bail, while in Washington, D.C., nearly all rioters were released from jail and had felony riot charges dropped against them. So, yeah, this is a pattern. We see other big cities, liberal-run cities, New York, Washington, they're getting behind these criminals. They're letting them go. They're literally letting them get away with crimes. I mean, I want to say get away with murder. There has been people that have died at these things. I'm not sure they're going to have these people arrested for that. I don't know if that's the same location in the same matchup, but they're letting them get away with a lot of bad things, and it's just not going to stop. It's just giving them more power, more strength. They're going to think they can just do whatever they want, and they basically can at this point. And The other thing this reminds me of, it's not mentioned here, but this is similar to that story of the celebrities bailing the prisoners out, like bailing out these criminals and rioters and the Minneapolis people. Because the same thing's happening with the cities. The cities are just letting them go, and then the celebrities are bailing them out, and then the news is doing defense for them on TV. I mean, look at all this. Look at us. What happened? What happened to America? This ain't my country. This is supposed to be a freedom country. This is supposed to be a good year. I thought 2020 was going to be awesome. I thought it was going to be sick in January. I was like, oh, look at all this stuff that's going to happen. Election year, YouTube's going great. Oh, we have all these movies coming out. It's going to be sweet. I saw there was a comedian coming to a town near me, and now everything's canceled. Nothing is happening anymore. No more TV shows are coming out. They've already aired everything that's filmed. Movies are stopped. All the ads are gone on the internet. All these websites are losing everything. We're barely skipping by. It's like everything is going down. And even the election is in flux now. I mean, Trump had like a pretty much gimme win in the beginning of this year. A lot of people were saying that, but now anything can happen with all these new curveballs, the riots, the virus, Joe Biden. I mean, I still think we have a great chance, but we have to try hard. We can't give up now. We can't just let this thing go down. So I'm going to stay here. Regardless, I'm going to stick around at least through the election. I mean, we've got more time on this. I think there's a lot more gas in this tank, so we're going to keep cranking them out. We're going to keep fighting the good fight, and I appreciate you guys joining us along the way. Thanks for your time. Make sure you comment your thoughts and everything below. I'll be reading those. Make sure you comment some ideas for new videos maybe, or your thoughts on this story. And also hit that like button to help support this video. Get us shared around. Share the link if you can. If you have a Twitter or Facebook, those all help. So until next time, you guys have a great day. Let me just take a quick moment to talk to you about my second channel. I recently relaunched and revamped No Bullshit 2, and it's now called NoBS News. I'm going to be doing new videos on there almost every day on weekdays, and then weekends we're going to be doing more live streams. So make sure you guys check out that second channel. There's already like say 10 or 12 more videos on there for you to check out right now. So if you want more content, search NoBS News on YouTube or click the link below this video.